And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you, with my buddy here, Chris Edwards. How are you guys doing, everyone? How are you
Good
doing,
morning,
Chris?
sir. I'm good. How are you doing?
Yes, buddy. Yes, there's a whole lot going on. There's a whole
A
lot going
lot.
on.
When is
And
there not a lot going on?
I know this is the world we live in. It's like
Yes.
saturated with media junk, just so much going on. For first of all, I just want to say my voice is crazy because I went out last night. What we
Mm-hmm.
do is we call networking around town, and we had a great time last night at the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. We had a great gathering at what's called Five Iron Golf here in the Flatiron District in New York City. Packed house, oversold event, networking with all these small business owners. I even got to meet the weatherman from Channel 2 News, who I'm a big
Oh,
fan of. I was like, wait a minute, I said, that's you? And we were laughing, and he has his own business, I do believe, as well. So that's why he's there. He's a member of the Manhattan Chamber, and it was so many people like that. We all had. I was talking to so many of the old friends that I hadn't seen in a while, and it was packed. And the last two events have been packed, and that's because people seem to be. COVID is behind us in a lot of cases, and people are out and about. And I think also with, and one of my friends last night said, he goes, there's probably a lot of people here too, because the economy, they don't know what the economy is going to do. And they're
right.
trying to set up networking because you need each other. Networking is important, especially during downturns in the economy. People
Yeah.
come out more to networking events because business is not as fluid as in when you're in a boom. And so that was also could be. And so there you have it. It was great. They had good food. The people at the Five Iron Golf organization, they treated us royally. I did put a post out on my Instagram so that people can see it and check it out. You know what? Maybe I'll put it up there for a moment, because you know how I like sharing this kind of stuff.
Come on,
And
technology.
yes, I got it going on. I got it going on. So I'm gonna put that on the screen. So it was absolutely nice. We had so much fun. Shout out to Nadia, who's she's our event coordinator, and I get to work with her a lot in the chamber because my role is an ambassador there to support what goes on. And man, we had a great time. I'll just show you the video real quick, and you can just see. I just got to show you the joy. So this is the weatherman from Channel 2 News, and we had a great time. This is Tony. And so here we go. Let me just share this. Hold on a second. Do I have more pictures? Okay, there it is. Oh, let me put the. And there you have it. So it was a good night. A good night, had by all, good networking, good food, nice food to chomp on, and it was good. So anyway, if you're in New York City and if you love golf, check out Five Iron Golf. They have several places. This is my second one that I've gone to. I went to the one in Herald Square, which is a much more, I think, it's a bigger space. However, though, the Flatiron Golf and Flatiron the 5-iron is where it all began.
Oh,
And now they're in different states. They may be one in Delaware, I don't know, but I know they have it in I think it was LA.
I'm gonna look it up. As a matter of fact, let's
Yeah,
look it
so
up right
they're in a
now.
lot of places. Also Dubai. Yeah, so they're international. But it all began as a small business in the Flatiron district here in New York City, and now they are a big company, golf facility, and you can learn how to play golf. You can learn how to hold. They have people there that are really knowledgeable. I say maybe. I mean, I don't know how many people in our community love golf, but that would be a great place to meet and hang out. They have a great place to hang.
Do they have miniature golf there or no?
I do believe I saw these little miniature golf but I don't think it's
It's a full
miniature
miniature
golf.
golf.
I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
really the golfers.
Golf.
Like,
Okay, no, because there are 3 in Philadelphia. There's none in Delaware, but like Philly's just like up the street from me. So, but yeah,
however, in New York City, we do have 2 on the west side. We have one in the Google building, where with the outside park that's on the roof of Pier 57, and then we have one all the way downtown.
Is that the one they call Fight Eye?
I think so, and
Because I'm on the website now.
It's next door to the island.
Okay, because there's Fight Eye, Flatiron, Grand Central, Herald Square, and Long Island City, Upper East Side. So there's 6 in New York.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, we have a lot of miniature golfs here in New York, indoor and outdoor. So
interesting. Okay, I have to check that out.
Next time you come to, we have to do some miniature golf because I know you love it.
I do love miniature. We actually played miniature golf like 3 weeks ago. We just did like a Saturday day date type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We found a place out here in Delaware. And we had a good time. We did and it was indoor, so they had 2 different rooms you could go to, and it was actually relatively inexpensive. I think we paid like $40 for the both of us to do both rooms, and each room is themed. We had a lot of fun. And they had a lot of they had families there with their kids, and it was just kind of fun to watch the kids play as well.
Nice. I love miniature golf. I haven't played in a while. Yeah, I haven't played in a while. It's a good time. It's good. I mean, it's always fun, and it's a good way to just hang out in the nice, especially when you have like a nice summer night and you're just hanging out. The breeze is blowing. You're playing the miniature golf. I love it. I see there's some folks in the building. People are here today. People are in the building today. Look at you, and make sure you hit the likes, as they say. Smash the likes to let people know that we are here and that you are here. And also, we're gonna go through some hellos in a moment. What else did I just wanted to there's a couple of things, but this one I want you to know, because I will be here. I got the whole weekend pass. So I will be at the AIPAD 2025 here in New York City. And what that is, I'll just show you real quick. It's a photo show here in New York City. It opened last night. I did not go to that part of it, but I will be there every day between now and Sunday. And so if you want to meet me, slide into my DMs. Let me know if you're going to be there. But let me just show you real quick. And it is, if you love photography, and if you are a collector of photography, and like a collector, like Alieze collects art, but you are a photography collector. Some of the greatest photographers in the world their works are here, and it's in New York City. And like I said, some of the most. I've seen photography on sale, because everything is on sale, and so I've seen works that are like a couple of $100 to several tens of thousands of dollars. I saw one photo that was $300,000.
Wow.
I didn't even know you could get $300,000 for a photograph. But some of these, you'll get. What's happening there is there's collectors. So there are collectors that own the rights to sell people's estates, like Ansel Adams. He's no longer alive, but his estate is there. You have the Gordon Parks. You have all these people. Their work is there, and people that have collected their work over time, but then maybe want to get rid of some of their work and now get some new work. So it's an amazing place. I end up usually I just go for the Sunday, but I never have enough time to just go on a Sunday. Last year I hung out with oh my gosh, what's his name from ABC News that used to do entertainment here?
Oh, I didn't
Oh gosh, I forgot his name, but we hung out a bit on last year. Gosh, Sandy, is it Sandy? I think it's Sandy. Yeah.
Sandy Cohen. Sandy
Yes,
Cohen.
Sandy.
Yes.
Yes, Sandy. And we hung out, and I was like, "Hey, I said, "Tell," because Goldberg is the weather guy there. I have this affinity with meteorology, being that I studied in aviation high school, and I always loved weather ever since. And so I always when Goldberg is on sharing the weather, I'm on his feed on Instagram, and so I said, Sandy, tell everybody at ABC I said hello. So Sandy was there last year. I had a good time to spend with him, and a lot of photographers that are in our communities and that normally don't go out to these kind of events. A lot of Black photographers don't go to these events. I mean, there's some out there, but I would like to see more Black photographers going to this event because one is inspiration. Two, you will learn more about photography from some of these collectors, and they love talking. They love sharing their stories. They love telling you how they bought this photography and how they came in contact with the estate of that person, or did they actually know the person. Every year I see someone selling something from Ansel Adams, or like I said, some of the great photographers out there. So I say Ansel Adams because he was one of my favorite. That's how I got into photography, is Ansel Adams and landscapes. As a matter of fact, it was Ansel Adams that spurred me his photos to hike, and that's how I became a outdoors. Photography is amazing, right? It can inspire you to do the most amazing things. I would have never been an outdoors person if it wasn't for Ansel Adams. And that is the power of photography. You can inspire a generation. So anyway, you just go to this website. I have the website up there. It has all the information. You can get the general pass for the whole weekend if you go today and start. It's there today, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or you can just pick a day and go out and be there. But yeah, so it's great. They have I think just as a special on the 25th, tomorrow night will be the night of photography with ICP from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So I'll be there for that as well. So I'll be live and sharing this from, you know how I go, you know how I do. I'll be live and sharing on our platform here, so that way you guys can get a little taste of it. And obviously I won't tape the whole thing but I'll give you about an hour of footage of being there. Okay, let's say hello to some folks. Let's say hello. Ooh, you guys have been chatting away. Okay, first person in the building. Let me get this off the screen. Hannah says, good morning, Ron and Chris and Touch Base Daily family. G says, and she gets the silver today. She says, good day. And Jazzy's in the building. Jazzy, I'm going to send you also an invitation to come on later. So you'll be ready. Be ready. Be ready. And good morning, beautiful people, she says. And let's see. I see all the good morning. See each other and all the love between you all. Alieze says, good morning, everyone. I see Aya is in the building. Aya. I always think of whenever I hear that commercial, I think of you. Grand Rising, Ron, and everyone. And Mimi Hinton's in the building. Good morning, Ron, Chris, and RLP crew. And I am Reese. is in the building. She says, "Good morning, RLP cousins." Yes, yes, and the wonderful and fabulous Fifi is in the building. She says, "Good morning, Ron and Chris. Good morning, everyone." Woo, you guys are in here. Bryson's in the building. Do I need a drink? No, I do not need a drink right now. Bryson says, "What's up, Ron? What's up, Chris? What's up, RLP fam? What's up, everybody? Happy NFL draft day." Ooh, we'll be talking about a little bit about somebody in the NFL.
Mm.
But, but
Let's
anyway,
save that. Save
we'll
it.
save that to the end. Hey, neighbor. And I see good mornings for all of you in there. Kelly, what's going on, girl? She says, "Good morning, everyone." And who else is in here? You guys are in the building today. You guys are in the hey, the wonderful Kaz is in the building. Cassandra, she is in the building. And there you go. Everybody, we're all caught up on this.
So
What's
I just
up, buddy?
I want to swing back a little bit. You were talking about um, photographers and who inspired you. One of the ones that got me into landscape photography, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but Peter Lick, very
Yes.
well-known photographer. Love his stuff.
I used to go to his gallery
Yes.
every other month when I used to work on Wall Street. His gallery was in Soho. I would go there, hang out.
Yeah, he has an amazing gallery, and I've several years ago when I was traveling and doing for landscape photography, when I made it to Vegas at the end of one of my tours out there, we went to his gallery at City Center in off the strip on the strip. And just the breadth of his work, and what I love about his stuff is, you know, he has an amazing eye, but it's the bold colors, and then everything. Most of the stuff that he does, he prints in a large format, so you can really take in and get immersed in his artwork. Love his stuff. If you're not familiar with Peter Lick, definitely go look him up. And we'll maybe tomorrow when we do Focus Friday, we can put him up there as one of the accounts to focus on.
I love that idea. Now his gallery is no longer there because my other favorite photographer in the world is David Yarrow. So now David Yarrow has his work now shown in the David Lick gallery. David Lick has moved on, doesn't have the gallery space any longer. But now I was glad it was replaced. Oh, but David Yarrow's, oh my gosh, his work is incredible. Now, this is all he has the wildlife, he has Colorado, he has places in the country, he has what we call Americano kind of works. And so it's David Yarrow is one of my inspirations to wildlife photography. It was David Yarrow that also, when I first started in my career as a photographer, I was at one of his events. It was and everyone was gathered. He was there. I don't know how I got this invitation, but I ended up there. And I was hanging out, and his photography is in Buckingham Palace, all over I think it's someplace in DC. His work is like
everywhere.
In the most prestigious places. But he was so humble, and it just really blew my mind. And he was like, you know, if I take one great shot in the year, then it was a good year. And I remember I had just started. That was in October of, I think, 2015. And I had just came back home from Iceland and Ghana. And we were talking, and I just, you know, and when he shared that, I was like, you know what? That's going to be my attitude. That's going to be it took all the pressure off that, you know, a lot of photographers feel like every photo has to be great, you know? And it's it's impossible.
It doesn't.
But great photos don't happen all the time.
No, they're rarities.
They're rares. And that's why they're great.
It's like anything else in life. Like, people assume that, you know, you can constantly reinvent and recreate that magic moment. That's why it's called magic in a bottle. It does not happen all the time. You know, you can't go viral all the time because it doesn't happen. You can't manufacture it. You know, sometimes these great moments happen accidentally. You're not intending for it to happen, but then it just happens, and then you
Yes.
can appreciate the beauty in it.
It is so true. It is so true. And but yeah, so that's what's happening. Also this weekend, if you are in New York City, because I will be out in the streets from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We are the RLP Urban Photographers Meetup, my meetup that I started years ago. We will be in Times
One of the
Square.
founding
That's right.
people to
Chris,
show
one of
up.
the founding members. And we'll be in Times Square photographing the people, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we get together once a month on the fourth Saturday at 2 o'clock. So we'll be doing that, and I can put that on the screen really quick. And that is coming up, RLP Urban Photographers, Times Square, Saturday, April 26th at 2 p.m.
As a matter of fact, it was Janet and I were the first people to actually join you on that.
You were my first members.
Starbucks.
Yes, we met at
You
Starbucks
remember?
in Tribeca.
Yeah.
Our first meetup was in Tribeca,
Yep.
and that's how I got to meet Janet. And Janet was a friend of a mutual friend. And
was that the first time for Janet too?
Well, I met Janet at an art gallery.
Okay.
Beforehand, but I think once, and then we hung out. And Janet and I have been friends ever since. She's like family. And it was on my birthday we met. So it was like Tribeca, it was my birthday. And Janet said, okay, you can't just go home on your birthday. Like after this, I said, where do you want to go? She said, let's just hang out. And I was like, okay, let's go down to the Oculus. And she was like, yeah, let's do that. And so we hung out, we went to the financial district, just hung out and laughed and talked. And we ended up we went to the Winter Garden. That's where we went. We were on the other side of the
yes, because I remember we also went down to the Irish
memorial.
Yeah. Which is actually a very interesting memorial. A lot of people I don't think people give it enough credit in how it's designed, and when you look at it from certain angles, what it actually looks like.
It feels like you're in Ireland. It feels like you're. Yeah. It has a rolling green hill,
right?
And
right.
It has like
it's supposed to mimic that. Yes.
It's so,
it's small.
New York has a lot of amazing places. And then we're gonna go on. But last night also, after we got out of our networking around town, my voice is a little off because they said, let's hang out. Let's go. Let's have an after party. And I'm not as young as I used to be. So, but I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And we went out. But when we were walking down the street in the Flatiron District, we walked past the birthplace of Teddy Roosevelt. I never saw the building. I've been in New York all my life and never saw the old home where Teddy Roosevelt, President Teddy Roosevelt, was born, right there in the Flatiron District. Couldn't believe it. Old brownstone. So New York has all those little secret hideaways, and you learn so much in being in New York City. And but anyway, what's next? Do we got everything, Chris? I think we got everything.
I think we should bring Gwendolyn in.
So wait a minute. Well, you know how we do now, because now we got this. Wait, I think the women, I hear them. I hear their footsteps. Oh. I hear their footsteps, and they're making their way to the door. Oh, I hear them.
Doorbell. That sounds like a very rich doorbell.
Yeah,
you find it on a mansion.
You know how I roll. It's called. Oh, they're trying to get in. The ladies are trying to get in. We need to bring them up. Okay, here they go. What's going on, Alieze and Gwendolyn?
Goodness, Gwendolyn is over it. She's over it.
She knows.
Thanks, Chris. Good morning.
Well, Gwendolyn, I told Gwendolyn why I ended up with all these little sound effects. One is I saw that my cousin used to have it on his platform, like the and all the noises, and I was like, that's pretty interesting. And then Don Lemon had it on, and with his Shopify, the cha-ching. And I said, wait a minute, there must be some apps out there with this stuff on it. And then Lady Gwendolyn.
Introduced you to it?
Well, no, she was on her show. And she used the sound effect. I think it was applause. Was it people cheering? And I said, doggone it, Gwendolyn. She got
Gwendolyn, it's your fault.
And,
well, though, they're good effects, and they add a sense of richness to the videos. We use them in our videos all the time, and especially our promo stuff.
So last night we had, last night we had our game night. So I'm going to change the name. So use this Touch Base Daily Twitch at night. So now it's going to be Touch Base Daily Game Night. Just makes sense, right? Because it is game night. And we had like 25 people in last night hanging out with us. It was like, each week we get more people in our community. I was like, there's more people in the nighttime than the daytime.
You're starting the trend.
I was like, and we were playing our games. But then we had Chris R. She was our MVP for the night. And so no one had heard this sound before. And I was like, it felt so good.
It's the little things.
It's the little things that make coming together with sound effects. Anyway, Gwendolyn, what's on your mind, girl? What's on your mind?
Oh, that's a loaded question there, Ron.
Yes, it is.
That's a loaded question. Well, actually, it was on my mind, literally, is today is my last day with the kiddies in terms of reading, right? Because the school year is ending. They've been doing their STAR testing, but I will see them next week for field day. I know. Now I'm not going to be in anything, but I'll be manning a station. So I am excited about that.
I used to love field days when I was a kid. Field days?
Field day.
Whew, I used to come home with my little note. Mom, please sign the note. Please let me know. And my mother would be like, how much is it going to cost?
That's what they want to know.
That was her first statement every time. How much is it going to cost? I was like, they're going to the Apple Circus or the Ringling Brothers Circus or Star Wars, or we went to the park.
Or the Bronx Zoo.
The Bronx Zoo. We used to do the Bronx Zoo and the Bronx Zoo, the New York Botanical Garden. We had some good field trips.
Well, this is field day. Field day. I get field trips. This is field day. You remember field day?
I remember that when you go outside and play all the different obstacle courses and tug of war and all that stuff.
Field days.
You get your popcorn, your pickles.
Not pickles.
Where will you be? What would you be manning?
I don't know yet. All I know is I'm doing 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. But they split the kids up based on how old they are and stuff. So we shall see. Now I'm probably going to wear like some tights or some pants because I don't have any shorts that are appropriate for that area. I got a lot of legs.
Oh yes, we know you. I know your shorts. Your shorts. Her shorts will stop traffic. Let me tell you, Gwendolyn be trying to hurt people.
Keep the foot on the neck. So I'll be wearing some pants probably.
Yeah, she be wearing some shorts. I wear short shorts.
Wow.
We wear short shorts.
Thanks, Ron.
I love it. She be posing too. She be like, yes, y'all. That's right. I'm on this beach. I'm in this piece.
Okay, we need to move on now.
You got it.
Alieze, what's on your mind, my dear?
Definitely not wearing shorts. But
come on, Alieze. You can get in some of those shorts.
For the opposite reason, Gwendolyn not wearing them. These legs are bad. No. I don't feel like I wouldn't want the jokes. It's like Gwendolyn said, it's so much to be on your mind, right?
So much. There's so much to talk about in the world.
All the hood winking and bamboozling going on in America at this moment.
There is so much
HBCUs, don't
going
fall for the
on.
okie doke. They coming for your neck.
Yeah. Hello, hello,
Mhm.
You're gonna want
hello.
control. Don't change your curriculum. You won't be able to teach all that wonderful history you're teaching.
Right.
And
So
speaking of that, if
nothing's
we
free.
may,
Nothing's coming for you. That is there's a string, and it's one that's gonna choke you.
mm,
Tell that
ooh,
truth.
Mm.
No, it's a rope.
ooh,
It's gonna choke
yes,
you. It's a
yes.
rope. You're gonna be the strange fruits hanging from something.
Yeah.
Now that's some truth there. You are
Yep.
sharing some truth there. And speaking of that, I do have something I wanted to share with you because of that. This is something that's in the news today. It's Trend Tuesday, Trend Thursday. So we talk about what's in the news, and this was interesting that you would bring that up. You know, we are always on it. We are always on the same page, which is beautiful. And let me get this up here first. Okay. Something changed here. Okay, let me close that out. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. And this is from AP News, Associated Press. And Black churches back embattled Smithsonian African American History Museum after Trump's orders. Great article. If you guys want a really good article to read, let me pop this off of here. The good right there, and it goes in as he does one day each month. The Reverend Robert Turner hit the road from his home in Baltimore last week and traveled on foot 43 miles to Washington. He arrived by evening on April 16th outside of the White House carrying a sign that called for reparations now. This time, Turner added another stop on his long day's journey, the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Then he goes, Turner knelt in prayer and laid a wreath at the entrance of the museum in support of his mission, which incurred President Donald Trump's criticism alongside other Smithsonian Institute sites. In a March 27 executive order, Trump alleged that Smithsonian exhibits had disparaged the nation's history via devised race center ideology. Turner watched to show support for the museum, which opened in 2016 and received its 10 millionth visitor in 2023. Museum tells the history of chattel slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, and its lingering effects, but it also highlights the determination, success, and contributions of Black Americans and Black institutes. And it goes on, but the main thing here, he said his church has committed to becoming a museum member, and he's encouraged church members to do the same. Membership costs start at $25 per year, according to an online form on the museum site. The church is not alone, as other predominantly Black congregations are taking similar steps. And it goes on, but to preserve this museum, because as they are losing their funding, they're rallying all of the Black churches around the country or anyone that will support in giving $25 every year to the cause of the museum. Now, I thought that was amazing. I remember hearing this on Roland. I think this was in March, after the end of March, maybe it was mid-April, early April. What do you guys think about this, y'all?
Well, you know, my my husband has been a member from the inception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we go to member the activities and everything. What I think is we have to be real clear that when you talk about the funding, 40% of the funding is operating costs that comes from the federal government, correct? So they're not coming for the funding. He's appointed some 30-year-old white woman to be over this whole thing, to dismantle things in the museums. And so they're coming for the exhibits. They're coming for I always say
Jim Crow.
The basement. They're coming from the basement up to like the fourth level.
Yes.
They're fine with the entertainment and all that stuff on the top where, that's above there. But from the beginning to all of the civil rights and all that part, that's the part they're coming from.
Yes.
So our job, yes, I think people should contribute. I think they, if the memberships were $25, join the membership for $25 to support it, because at the end of the day, as long as this particular administration has financial ties to the museum, they're going to try to wreak havoc. And I've already told my husband that's the day his wife gets arrested. The day they say that somebody's going in this museum to try to do something, you always read about your friend, because they're going to be locked up.
Alieze.
I will go to jail for that. I may not come out for everything, but I promise you I'll come out for that. And people need to understand why the museum needs to be preserved. It's easy to say, well, it's a museum. It's because it tells the truth and it tells the story, and it's not an ideology. And I think that we have to make sure that the language, we have to start figuring out, how do we help control the narrative?
Yes.
So that they don't talk about ideology. It's about the truth of American history. It's about truth of how people were kidnapped from their country and brought to the Americas and enslaved, right?
Yes.
So it's not ideology. Everything that's down there is all fact. It's not an idea. It's not a concept. It's not a theory. None of it's based on theory. It's based on truth. What they have is ideology. What they have is the great lie that the daughters of the Confederacy wanted to paint of what this all is. But the truth is in that building. Yes. And we have to make sure that what the truth stays there. The legacy of our Black legislators who were there doing Reconstruction is in there. What they did is in there. And we still live with what they did while they're there. We have public education, which they're trying to destroy, exists for all because of them. So that's why it has to be preserved. That's why we have to do whatever we can do. If we don't fight for something, then what are we crying? What are we crying about? It's time for us not just talk. It's time for us to do. So if it takes $25 a year, go invest your $25 a year. It's great that the churches are coming out and doing something and saying something and getting involved. That's wonderful. But it's bigger than the church.
Yes.
It's all of us. It's our community. It's the history of this country. And that's what we have to help preserve. And we have to give them the resources so that they can say, hey, we don't need that. We got this. Because that's just one that they're talking about. There's a Native American museum there. They're going to come for all of them. Anything that's not white, European, and telling a story that they talk about. And it's also the History Museum that's down there. So don't get it twisted. It's about any museum that has something that they don't like, or shows art that they feel they don't like looking at. It's about all of that. So yes, we need to make sure this museum is protected, because when we think about it, I think about people and how we choose to spend our money, right? Buying art is a luxury for me. That's a luxury. I'm real clear on that. It's not a necessity.
Yes.
But there are some things that we have to prioritize for what we want to make sure exist and tell the stories when we are gone. And that exists for our future generations. And that's up to us. If we can go out and do all the things that we want to do, and we can buy all the shoes, we can buy all the things and the designers and all of these other things, and invest in people who don't care anything about us, let's invest in something that preserves us. And they have an amazing project that's coming out that's about oral history. My husband and they had a breakfast for the members a couple of weeks ago, and they shared some video from that. And that could be in jeopardy because it's supposed to be on the platform so the public will be able to access it. They could end up telling them they can't put it out there. And it's because and it talks about social justice. And they have artists, they have a photographer in there then it's young people talking to older people and telling their story. So those are the kinds of things that people don't know we protect. You're protecting those types of things too, the things that they provide to the community that will be under attack.
Nice.
So long, but
it's you bring up that point, and there was someone that wrote on. I'm not sure what I saw, because I see so much social media postings, and someone was sharing that a lot of the works that are in the museum are, someone mentioned here, on loan to the museum, and they were using not the analogy in history, I should say, just the history of it all, not an analogy, but it was history, that how when Germany was ramshacked and became a dictatorship under Hitler, one of the places that they went after were the museums to grab all the art.
Yes.
And they sacked it, grabbed the art, held it hostage, put it into hiding, sold it on black markets, send it around the world, and still to this day they're still finding some of this art, and so people were worried about the art in the museum, in a lot of the Smithsonian's, that these beautiful pieces of art that have been these collections could be sacked and stolen and who knows what done to them. But you're right about the that museum is one of the best accomplishments of history for Black history. It takes you through the journey before slavery, like any thought of slavery, and it takes you in and brings you through. And that timeline, as you move through from the basement, as you move upward, I mean, there's some moments you have to, they literally leave you, they give you breathing space.
Right.
Because there's moments you will start to cry. There's moments your emotions will overtake you. I'll never forget when I got to the Emmett Till section. There were people crying all over the place. It was like, holy moly! It was so emotional. You almost like, do I want to go in? But you need to go in, and that was the whole thing. And then the other thing, the other exhibition part of that was tearful, because I had never seen any of it, was the lynching section.
And let me tell you about the lynching part. So the lynching section is mild compared to a lynching exhibit that I saw. I saw it in Atlanta. There was a traveling lynching exhibit.
Ooh.
It was so emotional. And of course, there's a lynching exhibit down in Montgomery. It's so emotional in how they show the postcards.
Yes, the postcards.
They had everything that the people used to send around. So, and on that very top floor of the museum is where they have the artwork that I'm sure some of them wouldn't like. That's where the Bisa Butler quilt of Harriet Tubman hangs there. There's lots of things that Breonna Taylor's portrait used to be there. Now it's back in the rightful place that it was supposed to be in, that Amy Sherritt did. So those pieces, that top floor is also something they would come for because of the artwork that's up there, because of the story the artists tell through their work. And as you're saying, they took the artwork that the Jewish people had, they sold it, they stole it, they did all those things. And Ron, when you were talking, it made me think about how the state of New York paid them reparations.
Yes.
And we have yet to, from any place, New York was a big place for trade and slave. That's where Wall Street started.
Street started, yes.
We never talked about that. I was fortunate enough when I was teaching in my first school to be able to take my children to Howard University's anthropology lab. At that time, the anthropology lab housed the bones of the people from the cemetery in New York until they were and they kept them there until they were reinterred in New York. I took my children to see those bones.
Wow.
As a part of a lesson I did, which was Marie Troxler did this thing about bones. And so they measured other bones, but they couldn't touch those bones. Yeah. But those bones were housed there until they took them back to reinter them. And I guess, part of this is a really emotional thing for me sometimes, really, because of my heritage and our heritage. So if I think about HBCUs, I'm from Tuskegee, right? Mm-hmm. What does them trying to have HBCUs under them means for Tuskegee?
Mm-hmm.
who has so much more. You all call it University of Tuskegee Institute forever in my mind, which has the legacy of George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington. It housed there. There's a museum for that.
Yes.
All of that history that's in some places, that's where they trained. The majority of Black nurses in America were trained on Tuskegee Institute's campus at John Andrews Hospital until they started getting nursing programs that they were allowed to go into in other places. And so what will this mean to those universities? What will it mean to the history that they teach and empower their students with that they don't get prior to their entrance into those schools? What does all of this mean? That's what we have to think about. Black colleges and universities are gonna, just like we support the museums, we got to figure out how to support them as well.
Yeah, the colleges.
Because they are going to rip them apart.
Mm-hmm. Chris, Gwendolyn, you guys have anything y'all want to share on the subject?
I mean, this is literally the playbook of Germany and Nazi Germany. Basically, this is what they did. They burnt books back then. Now they just take them off the shelves. They're defunding. I mean, you thought that our government was never good at funding art programs. Now they're criminalizing art programs and taking away from them. And like Alieze said, they're going to come for. I mean, the one thing that I think is constant through time, and when you see nations fall, the first thing you see them come for is education and art.
Yes.
You know, look at Egypt. Egypt was raided of all of its artifacts. I mean, they still don't even have all their stuff back. Any great civilization, the first thing they come for is math, science, and arts. Because that's where history is. That's where the history is, you know? So we have to be very aware of this. And the fact that we're allowing this to happen right now, I mean, Germany was the same way. They said, oh, well, this will never happen, or it's not as bad as you think. And then look what happened. When you do not learn from history, you are
doomed.
You will always
repeat it.
Yeah, to repeat it. You will always repeat it. And this is not a country right now that believes in history.
Or education.
And education. So we are just living on what, the past, and it's happening all over again. And there are the few that can see what's happening because we know history and we've seen it before, but it's like they're screaming into a vacuum or into a black hole. Like they're not listening, and not until it affects them individually will people start to say, all right, wait, we need to start doing something. And we see that now with all these weekend protests at different state capitals every week. Where was everyone protesting last, summer, last fall, before we had these elections? Oh, whatever. I'm just going to vote for him because the economy was quote unquote good under this orange menace. No, it wasn't. Look what this man is doing. This man is destroying not just the U.S. economy, but the world economy. Yeah. And it's because people did not listen to people. Oh, you're being hyperbolic, and you guys are just being, you're panicking for no reason. And now look at you.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn?
Absolutely.
I would say, as I tell people, Black history is American history, right? You can look at all the people who were here. Each of that makes this country what it is. And so we know that there is this want to whitewash everything. But this is when, as individuals and communities, we have to show up. There are too many churches, Black churches, all churches. There are too many churches that we should be having a question of how do we get this done, both for colleges and for museums. I mean, just in my little 4-block radius, I have 5 around me. 5.
Yeah,
right?
The call to duty is definitely doing something, but doing something tangible.
Yeah. So for each of us as individuals, you do something on a local level. You can definitely join a museum, collect whatever you can collect, be that books or what have you, and give whatever you can give to help. But this is where we have to have a chat with our individual circles, because each of us have an impact, right? So one person can definitely touch another 6, that gets to another 12, 14, and all the numbers, right? So we have to start on that, because if the people that we're talking to, again, we're in an echo chamber right here because we're here every day.
Yes.
But it's the people that we see who are in front of us who may be in some other circle who are not getting this news and are just a little bit oblivious. That's where we have to have that conversation because it spreads that way. Like my sister, if I may say, she went from, I don't know about this stuff, I'm not sure, to actually posting articles that she has researched on Google and some other places first. Posting articles on her platforms that talk about what's happening here. So we know if we talk to those who are in our immediate circles, we can make that difference. And like any other sort of smoldering something, it does become a fire.
You know, you bring up that we are in the echo chamber, but what's great about the echo chamber is we have that reminder, like you just gave us, what we can be doing. Because even though a lot folks are in an echo chamber, they may not know what to do. They may know the stories, they may know what's happening in the news, but like you gave a call to duty and saying, this is what my sister went, you showed a path. But that was because even though you're in an echo chamber here, but you stretched out your parameters and started to, like you just said, your circle. And as you could continue to spread out the information in your circles, then you're going to touch individuals in that circle. So it's almost like we are the nucleus of a community here, but then we are also the hands extended into the world. And so that's, I love that your sister's doing that. And that's, I mean, again, like, it's what? Talking. Yeah. We talk.
My sister?
Yeah.
That goes back to my comment before. I don't know how long ago I said this. We have to use the platforms and not let the platforms use us.
Yes.
As our echo chamber, we're here in this space, but we have larger things that communities we can reach just by using those platforms. You know, you have to be, and I know a lot of people are comfortable just posting in their story. Sometimes you may have to put that as a reel so that it reaches more people who haven't seen you, who haven't heard your voice, who may not know something, but they may see it because you put it in the world, right? And I think we have to strategically do that. That's why I don't repost what these people are saying. Like you're not gonna ever see a video of the Orange Man talking on my platform because I'm not here to promote him, because they don't care what you say. All they want is you to post them.
Yes.
Whether you got a comment going with it or a stitch, and I get tired of all this stitch. I don't want to. Go stitch a dress or something. Stop stitching that. Stop stitching these people's videos and making people go look for them. Stop that. That's all it does. Cut that out. And then just understand that our power is in how we use the platform.
I agree. Well, let me look at the time. Okay, we're good. So there is a subject that's out in the world these days, and not into the gossip thing, but I'm just curious. Have you guys in the audience, in the community, heard this story? And I know it was featured on Don Lemon this morning, and it's been getting a little circulation on TMZ and all this stuff that's happening
everywhere. Yeah, especially on social media.
And I just kind of like during the week, I was just like, I didn't know it's starting to get more trending, but I was curious, and it's just like, just curious. Go ahead, Chris.
Ryan.
I don't know why he tiptoed around it. Like, we are adults. You can talk about it. It's okay.
Here's the thing about it. It comes out as a story. There's a denial, and then there is a release of audio. I mean, it's a classic story. So a man denies it, and then the woman comes out with proof. And then it's just like, okay, because I mean, literally, I'm not saying this is the same level, but this is exactly how the whole Diddy and the Diddy story started.
Right.
He denied that he did anything wrong, and then they put the videotape of him beating the shit out of Cassidy and dragging him down the hallway, and it was like, oh, I was going through a bad moment in life and I regret my actions. No. But now what that did was opened up a can of worms to show that this is a pattern of behavior. So, who's to say that this is not something that this is happening on a regular basis?
You don't know. And what's interesting is the part when he said it about the attorney he hired and talking about Jay-Z. I said, first of all, The one thing that never happened in Jay-Z's case, there was no evidence ever presented. No text messages that were snapped, screenshot, or videos or audios, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Here you have a whole audio tape where you engage in a conversation with someone. But denial is, they say denial is not just a river in Egypt.
So Ron, go ahead. Okay, perfect. There you go.
And so there's a disturbing audio of Shannon Sharpe leaks amid rape lawsuit. Big black guy chokes small white woman, and just in the whole title of that, do you see the overtones of racism in the title?
Of course.
But here's the thing again. I'm gonna say this, and this is very controversial, and it is what it is. We talk about it in the Black community all the time. Whenever these Black men who have a little wealth and power and notoriety, the first thing they do is they run to these white women. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there is this thing that, and they always get themselves in trouble. Tiger Woods and other men like him.
I want to add something else in that too. It's not just the straight men that do that.
Oh no, it's gay men too.
Because my friend and I had this conversation all the time. It's not just them.
Ron and I talk about that all the time.
We talk about it all the time.
Can I ask you a quick question when it comes to him? Is he the one that accidentally leaked that?
Yeah.
I
don't even know that was
No. He went. He went live. No. When he
wasn't him with the
live. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was having sex with a woman, and he accidentally hit the live button on Instagram, and his sexual escapades was live on the internet while he was engaging in sexual activity.
I just wanted to make sure that was the
same person.
Same person.
So, and the other thing too, now there seems to be a pattern here.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what always kills me though?
Allegedly.
Is that he was doing so. I mean, he last year he had the number one because his Monique, was it last year? His Monique interview.
Yeah.
And also the other guy, Cat
Williams.
Williams. I mean, this guy was like blowing up on like social media.
His videos were number one on YouTube.
I mean, number one YouTube, number one on Instagram, number one everywhere. Social media. I think did he win a Webby Award? I think he may have won I know he was Webby Award nominated.
Hmm.
And then you got why do people self-destruct?
It's okay. So here's my thought. I'm with Jazzy. I don't think his last thing on Instagram was by accident. That there's too many damn buttons to do stuff by accident. Like,
I know
sorry, not sorry, right? But people do what they do to grab attention, whatever, right? As for this though, am I conflicted? Slightly conflicted. I will say, just from my own personal family bias, when my cousin got drafted, the young lady he was dating in college was a white kid. Now he comes from a small town in Texas, so it is what it is, right? And when we met her, she had this sort of I'm in like Flynn attitude. Was rude, was just not vibing. And if anything that we do, we don't tell him what to do. But I have a funny feeling his aunt said she got to go. And before we knew it, she was gone. Right? And then he met this beautiful Persian chick. We love Gabby. She fell in like with all the vibes. They're married, they got their kids and what have you. But in between, somewhere in there, there was a young lady who popped up who had this whole wild story. Now, I don't, I know my cousin from like family, right? I know how he was raised. I understand like who we are. And he was like, this never happened. It just did not. Right. And he was able to prove himself innocent. So when I see these kind of things, I think to myself, no offense to her. And I'm not saying that whatever happened did or didn't happen. Because, there are people, if you were into whatever kinky thing you're into, shit, I don't really care.
I mean, it's a lot.
Whatever you do, like if you want to play the roles and whatnot, that's your business. Like
Dungeons and Dragons.
But I also cannot ignore that there are some people who do some stuff to get attention. Like Bobby Womack. Nobody wants you when you're down and out. Nobody wants you. Everything's
true.
good until it's like, I feel like maybe we're about to break up. So let me get myself in order. Right. But that also goes on the other side. Now I'm putting out all my business right here. Right. So my brother married some chick. No, I don't care for her. Right. But she was able to use the legal system to create chaos. She would literally attack him, call the cops, and then be like, "Oh my God, I just can't believe it." Yeah, he would get kicked out of his house. The second time she did it, though, they were like, "Wait, we were just here, and things look funny." So they ended up arresting her. So we know that women will do some shady shit.
Yep.
Right? We also know that there are people who see a dollar sign and will go for it. We know that some men, to just make themselves feel younger, feel like they need to go for like a younger chick and whatever, right? So all these things are in play. Do I know if it's true or not? I don't know, don't really care. But one, he set himself up, in my opinion. Yeah. Because if we're gonna be adults and do some things, we gotta have some rules in this relationship. Right? You gotta have some rules. No evidence may be one of them if I'm a celebrity or if I'm in the limelight. We cannot have evidence. That's just,
And this is why you can't be mad at celebrities who have NDAs, because it protects them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of celebrities that if you're going to get a relationship with me, you need to sign this piece of paper, because there's no way you're going to put my business on Front Street and destroy the little bit that I have created for myself. So I get that.
It's because when Don Lemon, when they said it, they didn't know that. Don was saying he didn't know that this exists, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, in the gay, I'm just telling you, the gay community, this has been going on for decades.
It happens all the time.
Kinky swings and balls and chains and all kinds of threats and hanging, and I want to choke you and choke the life out of you. All that stuff. That has been around probably. I mean, it's been around since the Romans. Forever. I mean, hello. Yeah. It's been around for
hold on
hundreds of years.
Can I just all right? So Lisa has the comment that Lisa has on the screen, and we talked about this before going live. Now, granted, he's 56, she's 19. A lot of people look at that and like, oh, that's disgusting. Now, mind you, I don't know how old she is now. They met when she was 19, and by the law, she is an adult.
She's a woman.
Now,
she's an adult.
Right. No one. People will say, oh, that's still nasty. But here's the thing. Age really is nothing but a number, and I can't complain because everyone in my immediate family, we tend to either marry someone older or younger than us. And even for myself, I mean, when you think about it, I'm married to my husband. There's an 11-year difference. Just think about when I was in high school, he was in elementary school. Okay. So, and then, there's this trend, and you can't really determine who you, and I'm not saying that they're in love or anything like that, but who you vibe with. Yeah, the man's 56 and he has his thing. Maybe he likes young women. That to each his own. I'm not going to shame anybody for dating someone younger or someone older. It is what it is. People have their likes and they're just like. Now I can see if she was underage and he was manipulating her. Granted, 19 is still young. You haven't lived a life, but she legally can make decisions for herself.
Yeah, you all know my story. So
yeah,
I was 16. Yeah. My husband was in grad school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it wasn't about, he talked her into. No, my husband didn't talk to me anything. God said something. That was it. That was the end of that. And I knew, and that's why I say people at the age of 19, if you your mental capacity is fine, you know exactly what you're doing. You can make conscious decisions. I got married when I was 19. You can make those decisions and be fine. And we look at 56 and 19, like you said, she was 19 when they met. So we don't know how old she is now. But you have lots of older people who are with these. You have 20-some-year-olds marrying 70-some-year-olds.
Right? Yeah, like Tony Randall. Remember Tony Randall and his wife?
Mick Jagger is dating some 22 or 24-year-old. He's he looks like 100, but he's not. But I think it's not so much about the age. It's like it's more
the connection.
What was happening? Like what was happening there, and how people connect. And so I think that's part. It's like what do you get? At the end of the day, it's what comes out in the wash, right? What the evidence shows and what's true. like it's his story, her story, and somewhere in there is the truth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Somewhere in there is the truth, and we can't assume
somewhere in the middle
what the truth is. We don't know what the truth is. But I,
Right.
having been someone who is in a relationship with my husband is almost 10 years older than I am. It's been a great relationship, but they had nothing to do with me being younger. Somebody, unless you're born in the same year, somebody's gonna always be younger or older, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have to decide how many years that's gonna be, and all of that. But I think it's more of what the truth is, and I think that's what people need to find out, because up until this point is what we've heard and what we've seen, and we don't know what's actually true. And at the end of the day, it starts being hearsay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted. It was trending. Today is Trend Watch Thursday, and I was like, okay, that's
so
trending. It was definitely trending, and there was a lot of opinions. And when we were looking at Don Lemon's show, it was a lot of people were really going in. I was like,
yeah.
But people, again, like Alieze said, people don't know the story.
People
you don't know what is happening between these two individuals. We know we got the tape. Yes, we heard the tape, but we don't know. Is this just something that they regularly do? Is this something that they do on the reg?
So here's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
And hopefully we can figure this out. Having gone through personal experiences recently with a family member on hearsay, people are messy, they're voyeurs, and they want to be in people's business. Yes. And the nastier and the more negative it is, the more people speak out, knowing absolutely nothing. Knowing absolutely nothing. And then when we engage in it, we're also participating in this.
Mm-hmm.
We have to decide how much of the voyeurism do we want to be a part of. Mm-hmm. Because people get excited when folk have trouble.
Everybody likes a car wreck.
But also
let's celebrate the love as much as we do everything else.
Yeah, when they're commenting about it publicly and putting stuff out, I mean, you can't put stuff out there and then say, "Hey, I want my privacy." It's like, hello, you're putting it out there.
Well, now he did some other stuff.
There's some stuff
But I think we decide how far we take it. We can talk about it, yes. But how far do we take it? How much time do we give it? I think that's what we have to think about. Like, how much time do we give it? And I think, and then until someone comes out and they say, I witnessed something. Like, the thing with Puffy was the video, right? Mm-hmm. There was someone out there with Shannon. Here's this audio tape. And you have to figure out what's the context of that. Well, I don't know what they were doing. But a part of it is when you start hearing concrete things like that, that's when it gets closer to whatever the truth is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, may I add something? Because I have given him no play whatsoever. If Don hadn't really talked about it, it would still be off on the sideline for me. So that's that. But here's my question. This is not about her per se, but just in general with situations like this. I'm trying to figure out why the first option for resolution is money. Now, I'm not saying that sways my thought one way or the other, but I just find it troubling. I get that it may bring you some comfort, but I'm always stuck on why is that the first place that we go? Now, do we think is that like a lawyer's idea? Like, go get the cash? Because, a lot of us have experienced stuff. I'm going for some criminal charges first or some sort of other revenge, because Gwendolyn is petty. I'm a Virgo. I'm gonna get into some shit.
Well, I
just hate that when stuff happens, it's always, can I get some cash? That irritates me.
I think it goes back to what people are talking about and what Jazzy said too, is he was signing this big contract.
$100 million.
And she's like, so we don't know how that looks to her, what she feels she should get out of that. I don't know what it is.
Well, no. I mean, not about this particularly, but just like in general.
But in general.
Yes, in general, like why is that where people tend to go first? It's just one of the thoughts I had, because like we hear about this stuff, but it's always after the negotiations have broken down. And I'm thinking, well, why are we going with the money first? Because for me, and it's just the moment you start asking for money, I feel like there's a credibility problem.
Yes.
I'm like, can we not do that first? Can we like put somebody behind bars and do that before we do? I just want some, and I don't think it's, I just want some cash. I guess it's the way that the lawyers present it, but as always, we went for money first and then it broke down. And then you have to come out, okay, like a Cassie and show, no, I really was. So I'm like, why didn't we just do that? Unless we're talking, you know, it took too long and you can no longer file charges, that kind of thing. It just, for me, it irritates me.
I think it's just become so ingrained in this culture.
Yeah.
To go after money. Every time something happens. You know, I'll give you an example. It's crazy, right? So I got a neighbor. He's a minister. He's a minister. I want y'all to keep that in mind.
Nameless.
He's a minister. And so our houses are joined. Like, we live in townhouse. So in the middle, the house, the young couple that's there, the guy's the grandson of the woman who was originally there. They had the house renovated. This minister took these people to court saying, oh, it was disturbing me. And I'm on the other side. Now we all joined together. He was trying to, he and his wife are very litigious, as she says. So they're taking to court and they say every time he come to court, he put on his minister collar. And he was just wearing them down. So the young couple guy said eventually all it was they wanted money. So eventually they ended up giving them some money. I didn't ask them how much they gave them. And of course, then it was a neighbor down the street that down from us had put up a fence. Same neighbor tries to say something to her. So we had a whole conversation about this. And so because I looked at real estate a lot, I know that there's a thing. So this fence there had always been a fence the entire time I've lived here. So, you know, it becomes a part of what's allowed, right? So the good thing about the person at the other end, she was a lawyer. She wrote them back. Didn't hear anything. Now we're gonna come forward again. DC had a lot of wind one time. So supposedly he says that one of the things off our roof put a smudge on his car. Oh. So I was like, what we're not gonna do is come over here. Now you don't do everybody else. Now you're gonna come over here.
You done extorted everyone else, but you're not doing it here.
So my husband called the insurance company and they said, look, we got this. We ain't hear anything else. They said we got it, we're gonna call him.
But you know,
not another word.
But again, like Gwendolyn said,
the money that Gwendolyn's talking about. Everything to them was, how can I utilize anything that's happening
to get money?
To not just be neighborly, but try to profit off of somebody else and come straight for, well, you know, it may cost this much to get the car done. Well, good, get that done because we're not paying for it.
But the whole thing is he's your neighbor. He's your neighbor. You got to see that person every day.
It doesn't matter. Some people, they're the worst.
Well, I ain't going down that road. You are not putting me down that road today. But Gwendolyn says something that was very important there is that, gosh, I lost my train of thought. That was too funny for me. But
that sounds wrong.
Sorry, that's me again. I tell you, every time. And I got the windows open.
we get the train sound. But I forgot what I was going to say. But it was definitely. Oh, I know what it was. It used to be where you always went after criminal cases first.
Yes.
And then after the criminal case was solved, then you went for the monetary. So it used to be court for criminal cases. And then after the verdict was done, then that gave you the civil. Remember OJ, criminal. Then after criminal, they lost the criminal. And then they went civil.
Right.
Right.
That now used to be the process in America.
They're going straight for the money now.
Now they go straight for the money.
It's a money grab. I mean, everybody wants to live like the Joneses. And I can't make it on my own. Well, I'm going to go after yours. Give me what you got.
Well, they always said the American dream.
I go to like a McDonald's and I actually have hot food. And oh my God, that hot food burned me.
You know what?
I should be compensated. Okay, so should I give you like
that's where it started.
Food that's not cooked?
That's where it started. It was like the Dunkin' Donuts. It was the McDonald's coffee that they knew.
Yes.
Yeah, McDonald's coffee. I think that's where it started. And I mean, they had to you literally have to put the stupidest things on products now to keep people from harming themselves. Like
Harming
you're getting
yourself.
you want hot coffee. You douse hot coffee on yourself knowing it's hot coffee. Now you want me to pay you because you didn't know you can't put hot coffee in yourself and not get burnt.
Right.
Well, and that is the American dream. Sue. Well, guys, we can end it here. And tomorrow we have our focus. Losing the voice.
So can I say so just to end on positive stuff. So as you know, the artist behind me, his name is Esteban Whiteside. He lives in DC. He's getting ready to move to Carolina. So if anyone is in the area, he's gonna have a moving sale tomorrow night. I'm gonna try not to buy anything in his moving sale, but I'm gonna go and support him. He said, I know Lisa has bought some of his artwork before, but he's getting ready to move. So I just wanted to end on positive notes. I'm gonna be
I have one.
Art.
Well, I wanted to show you something that we had last night that I could not stop laughing. Lisa, Lisa always throw her 2 cents in. Sometimes we get like, she really kills us all. Well, last night there was these kids and they got to an experience of a bunny rabbit that didn't look quite like a bunny rabbit. And so I'm going to show that. That'll be the last thing we talk about. But it was so funny. I could not stop laughing last night. And I said, Jazzy, I didn't see you in the room. I did not see you there. Hey, Jazz.
What's up?
I need a producer, y'all. I need a producer. Somebody needs to volunteer. I need a producer. Hey, Jazzy. Jazzy, before I present this, what's going on, Jazzy?
Nothing much. I saw you sent the link, but then honestly, y'all were talking. I was working on something, so you're good.
Did you just pop in? In?
Probably like 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
A little
while. Okay.
Yes. I wanted to say one thing about the money thing. I think what a lot of people don't understand, Cassie, when she went for the money, there was a deadline that was coming up. She had 1 day to file it, and she was not going to file that suit publicly, right? So she was trying to handle everything behind the scenes. And when they did not settle with her, she was like, okay. And she basically put out this lawsuit against him, but she had to do it in that time frame because if she didn't do it, New York had like a special law at the time that you could file criminal charges against these people. Most of these cases come and their statute of limitation has passed. Yes. So that's why you see a lot of the monetary stuff going on as opposed to criminal, because the one thing we have to remember, when you have money, especially in the legal sphere, it is hard to fight against some of these people. Part of the reason why they have Tony Busby on this case is probably because the person that's representing that young lady that's with Shannon Sharp, they don't have the money to carry out a lawsuit of this manner. So they're attaching themselves to people and saying, okay, I'm going to attach myself to this. I wouldn't attach myself to him, but they understand that with his clout and with his power and with his money, that they can actually do the things that they need to do and get it done, because it costs money to file these cases. Most people don't have the ability to even file the case. So I think part of it is statute of limitations. Yeah, I think some of them are just trying to go for the money. But I also think when you're a celebrity, you have to be a person that's more hyper vigilant about the people that you have around you, especially as a man. You know what I mean? Like I'll just say it. I think a lot of times people just, they want to see the best in people without realizing, like, listen, when you don't have money, money is everything. But when you have it, you get kind of disillusioned to the fact that it's like, oh, okay, well, they don't really need it, and I'm going to show and flash and all that stuff. They want to use their money to get these people, but they don't want to use the money when they kind of trap these people in a system. And that's what was going on with Diddy a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people understand the power that he was yielding in these. Well, allegedly. Let me say allegedly. So I don't get sued. Allegedly. But
allegedly.
That's all.
Jazzy,
power and control.
I knew
Yeah,
Jazzy had a point.
yeah.
Jazzy had a point, and I was like, we got to hear Jazzy, because that was definitely reasonable. That was definitely sound reasoning. So, but we're gonna end with this wonderful video, and I'm gonna let some of you guys go off the screen. I'm gonna let Jazzy go. Thank you, Jazzy. And I will make sure that you get a link every day. So if you want to pop in, you're more than welcome to. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okie dokie. So I'm gonna let
Bye.
Jazzy out. I'm gonna let Alieze out. I'm gonna let Gwendolyn out. It's Chris and I. And I'm gonna show this video, and then we're gonna get out of here. But to me, it is, Chris, I was dying laughing last night. I could not stop laughing. It was beyond the pale. Here we go.
I think I've seen this one before.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh my God.
That's how kids
are traumatized. This is how kids are traumatized.
Yeah.
Poor little things.
It
looks like from a scary movie.
That is the ugliest Easter bunny I have ever seen. I'm going to get a clear picture on it. There it is. Look at that. That looks like a bird.
I don't know what that is.
That does not look like an Easter bunny. And that kid said, "That's not the Easter bunny. That's not the Easter bunny."
It's not.
It was so hilarious. And it just says hippity, hoppity, don't stoppity. And but it was so funny. Last night we probably spent 5 minutes laughing. It was hilarious. But thank you, Lisa, for this video. And she brought it to our attention last night. It was the time of our lives. I mean, well, at least for me, I laughed, I cried, could not. I was weeping in tears because it was so freaking funny.
It's the little things.
But that thing is ugly. That is the ugliest bunny I have ever seen.
All right, let's not get caught up on it.
But the kid knows. The kid knows. That's not the Easter bunny. No. Anyway, guys, have a great Thursday. This was a wonderful time. We had a great conversation. Love it that when you guys are here. Make sure you hit the likes. Also leave comments if you decide to. And yeah, Jesse says his little scream is just hilarious to me. It was so over the top, and I was dying laughing. Could not stop laughing. And but anyway, have a great week, guys. Again, you know the announcement. I won't do the announcements today, but I'm gonna, we'll just do that tomorrow. Friday night we might be doing we'll be doing our game night, and then also next Wednesday, just so you know, I'm just gonna get you next Wednesday. We will not be on here. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if Chris or Gwendolyn want to just take the helm. We've never done that before. We'll see. But on a Wednesday, they can run the show, and I won't be here. I'll be on a major photo shoot. I have a project with Forbes magazine coming up, and I'm pretty excited about it. So we'll see how that all rolls out for next Wednesday. I'll be on location in Jersey. And so I won't be able to do our show on Wednesday. But I was like, you know what? That doesn't mean the show doesn't go on. Maybe someone wants to lead it. Maybe. So we'll see if anyone's available for that. But if not, I will be on the Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I will be on location. Keep me in your prayers. I meet with the Forbes people and the Verizon people on Monday. So it's a big project, and I'm excited about that. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for joining us today. Lisa, thank you for that little fun clip, because I think that's a great way to end the show after all the deep conversation. But this was absolutely wonderful. You guys rock. This is a great community. Love you. And if you're here for the first time, join the community, be a part of it. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Focus Friday. Come with your favorite social media account that inspires and informs and encourage. Okay, see you guys. Thank you so much. Later. Bye. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.